Welcome to Revere Veterans Corner. Nick Bullis, Revere Veterans Service, and the Revere Allied Veterans Council. Today we have a real special guest. He's head of the veterans in Saugus and Wakefield. His name is Andrew Biggio. He served in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's a young veteran. I'm an old veteran, so I'm going to turn it over to you for time, Andrew,
Sure.
and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Morris, and thank you for having this show, because every day we need to remind the public that we got veterans out there, guys still serving in war, and guys who have served in war and will need to be taken care of for the rest of their lives. So good work with their show. I hope every community should have a show like this to bring public awareness. You know.
Right, Andrew, could you talk about something, what you do for the veterans and your Saugus and Wakefield?
Yep. So I'm the Veteran Service Officer for the towns of Wakefield and Saugus. Every town has a VSO, it's called Veteran Service Officer. And I currently help any veterans coming home or any veterans from the past who need help with everything from employment, going back to school. Maybe they need to be on financial benefits. Maybe they want to put in a medical claim with the VA hospital. Maybe they want to enroll with the VA hospital. You know, anything goes. I can work as a buffer between the state veteran services and the VA, and I can do everything from just counseling any veteran who might need advice.
Right, I was going to ask you a question, but I don't understand. Kathy Reistein was here about a week or so ago. She was speaking something about the Valor Act. Could you explain that to me if you know what it is?
Yeah, the Stolen Valor Act is a law that was passed by Congress that anyone you know, posing to be a soldier, a Marine, sailor, airman, or even wearing fake medals or anything, that would be persecuted by whatever law it was. You know, I don't know exactly what the punishment was for pretending you're a Medal of Honor recipient or something, but I know recently they cut down on that, and that was something that Scott Brown was fighting to stay alive. But the Stolen Valor Act is basically guys being punished for pretending to be someone they're not.
Right, there was an article, if I may say, in the Boston Herald a few months way back about Mr. Paul Monty speaking about the phony Medal of Honor because his son got killed, who earned the Congressional Medal of Honor.
It was on the cover of the Herald, yeah.
Yep, his name was Jared Monty. And he was speaking about the people that have these phony medals, that they come in and they get benefits for them, which they're not entitled to. So, but they never get prosecuted for it, and I don't understand why.
Well, they used to, but then something happened where they wanted to cut the spending or cut back on that particular law. It wasn't important to them anymore, and that was a huge uproar, because it's ridiculous. You got guys fighting and dying, earning these medals,
right?
But the guy down the street is walking around with one. It's despicable. And, you know, I think it was, at the time, a 5-year minimum prison sentence. But now, you know.
Right. And, you know, Andrew, I got to say thank you for explaining something to me, that the Vietnam Wall, which will be coming here June 13, 14, 15, and 16, which will be open 24 hours a day.
Yes, it will.
We're going to ask you if you would help us get volunteers, so I'm going to let you see how you're going to go about getting them for us.
No questions asked. When the Vietnam Wall, the moving wall, the wall that heals, came to Everett, Mass, it was a huge. I don't want to say it was a huge hit, but it was very moving to a lot of Vietnam vets. Brought a lot of closure, and it brought a lot of awareness to the children and the kids that were in school. They took field trips to the wall to see the names of some 58,000 service members who gave their lives in Vietnam. As far as Saugus is concerned in Wakefield, as the veteran service officer for those two towns, I promised to get volunteers and bring the Vietnam War community from those towns to this wall to help them bring closure and to help them remember their buddies.
Right, and another thing I understand that you have done, or your group has done, is the motorcycle ride concert, and you brought in a picture here.
Sure.
With 3 veterans on here. Would you explain about each one of them to the people?
Sure. This is the 3rd annual motorcycle charity run for, it's called Boston's Wounded Vet Run. It's a motorcycle run in concert for local wounded veterans from Massachusetts who are in the need of either housing modifications or basic living needs, stuff that the government may not provide for them after their injuries. So there's 3 veterans on here. One of them's Captain Jake Murphy. He's a West Point graduate. He's from Wellesley, Massachusetts. He lost both his legs in Afghanistan. he would like to get his wife a car because right now him and his wife are sharing the same car. And he has medical equipment in there, and she has family in New York, so every time she wants to travel to New York to visit her family, he has to give up his car for the weekend, and he doesn't have. So our goal with this motorcycle run is to buy his wife a car. The center Marine is Corporal James Crosby from Winthrop, Massachusetts. In 2004, he was wounded by rocket fire in Iraq, and a piece of shrapnel pierced his spine, and he's no longer to walk. He's wheelchair bound. We want to raise some money for him, preferably to get a down payment on the house. And the third Marine on the end here is Corporal Nick Ufrazio. He was severely wounded in Afghanistan. He's from Plymouth, Massachusetts. An enemy grenade went off by his head in Afghanistan, and they had to remove part of his skull and part of his brain. He has a traumatic brain injury, and he's learning to talk, walk, and everything again. His father spent $27,000 of his own money to remodify his own house, and he sold his own motorcycle to do these housing modifications for his son. So we want to try to reimburse his father and buy his father a new motorcycle. Last year we did this motorcycle run, and we raised 80 grand for 2 wounded Marines from the area.
Excellent,
missing
Andy.
their legs.
Excellent.
We redid their houses, redid their walkways, everything. This is Boston's Wounded Vet Run. It's April 27th at Boston Harley-Davidson. That's where it starts. It ends at Suffolk Downs in East Boston. So if you do not ride a motorcycle, you can join us at Suffolk Downs, where we'll have a concert, we'll have vendors, it's family friendly, and it's a good time to raise money for wounded warriors. So it doesn't matter if you're a biker or not, you can come to Suffolk Downs. If you do own a motorcycle, we encourage you to join us at Boston Harley-Davidson. It's going to be a 40-mile route that goes through Massachusetts. People come out of their houses, they fly American flags, they clap, and we take the 3 wounded veterans, we put them in Corvettes, roofless Corvettes in the front of the run. Last year we had 2,000 motorcycles, nearly 2,000 motorcycles, escort these guys through roughly like 6 towns in Massachusetts. If you want to know any more information, just go to theyfoughtweride.com. That's theyfoughtweride.com, and there's all the info on there, pre-ticket sales, etc.
Okay, Andy, would you also tell them if they want to make donations where they could send it to?
Also, if you don't go online, you can send any donations to made out to Boston's Wounded Veterans. That's the donations that are going to be made out to Boston's Wounded Veterans, and they can be sent to 60 Paris Street. That's 60 Paris Street, like Paris, France, East Boston, Mass. 02128. That's 60 Paris Street, 02128, East Boston, Mass.
And that is the Boston Wounded Veterans.
Boston's Wounded Veterans Incorporated, yep.
Right, thank you.
No problem.
That's an excellent thing that you do for the veterans, Andy.
It's going to be a good time.
Yep. Now, another thing I would like you to speak on is we have a lady, Eileen Murillo. She wants to make a memorial for the women. But this is in the town of Revere. But once it starts in Revere, I got to be honest with you, when it starts in Revere, it's like a brush fire. It spreads. Other towns pick it up. And she has a list of 140 names, or 141. She's making a memorial. And she would like to get the help, not only of the people of Revere, but the surrounding community inside the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yes.
Is there a chance that you and your organization might be able to help her?
So, like I said, with the money we raised, last year we raised $80,000 for this Wounded Veterans motorcycle run. And once we take care of these veterans' housing modifications, these veterans choose charities to where they want to send the leftover money to. So, for example, one Marine only needed $20,000 worth of housing modifications. The other Marine needed like $15,000 to $30,000. So then we had a lot of excess money over. What we do is I sit down with the 2 Marines who, roughly, these are guys who are Iraq and Afghanistan, and I say, hey guys, here are other veterans organizations that need help. Let's send some money to the Women's Veterans Memorial Fund.
Right.
Let's send some money to the Vietnam Wall Fund. Let's send some money to the Wounded Warrior Project. Let's send some money to the Semper Fi Injured Marine Fund. Let's send some money to the Beirut Memorial. So that's definitely, absolutely yes. If they're looking to build a memorial for women veterans of World War II, it's absolutely something we consider and do, absolutely.
Right. You know what I would like you to talk about, Andy? Well, you served in both Iraq and Afghanistan in the Middle East.
Yep.
Tell us what it was like there when you first went overseas, how you found the people over there, how you found their customs over there, and how long you served there.
Yep. Well, I was in the Marines for roughly 6 years, in and out. I was a Marine reservist right here out of New England. But I was fortunate enough to get the experience of deploying to 2 different combat zones, Iraq and Afghanistan. In Iraq, both places were completely different. I'm not going to say they were totally different, but they were different on culture-wise, the war-wise, operations-wise, you know, and that's just also the timing. I was in Iraq in 2008, where we were still using Humvees, and then when I was in Afghanistan, we're using these things called MRAPs, these big lifted-up vehicles that are much safer to drive around when there's IEDs in the ground. My experience as a 19-year-old kid in Iraq was interesting. You know, the Marine Corps takes a lot of Marines and they'll teach you about the Muslim culture before you go over there. They'll let you know when the Muslims pray, what they eat, what's disrespectful, what's not disrespectful, how to shake their hands, how to greet them, and you go through language class. I think we, for the majority of the time, besides what you hear, you know, an incident on the news, that these Marines are instilled with the discipline to respect this culture, and they do. They go over there. I've seen everyone from my lieutenant captains down to the private respect their culture. But still, when it came down to finding out where the enemy was or getting down to business, they did it in the most professional way possible. Afghanistan was more of a NATO mission. So U.S. Marines would be in one area, and then to the north was the Italian Army, and then to our west was, or you know, the British Army would pass through our AO all the time. And then we went from training and working with the Jordanian Army. So it was multinational forces there.
Was that part of the NATO operation?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Afghanistan was definitely an Operation Enduring Freedom, or ISAF, where the whole world said we need to be in this country. We need to take care of this problem because it's a complete safe haven and training ground for any terrorist that wants to go learn terrorism or teach or preach the terrorism thoughts to younger kids. And it was just, you know, a wild, wild west with no real government.
You know what I don't understand, Annie, if I could say? I look at the wars in these countries, Iraq, Afghanistan. It's always the Western countries that go over there. I never see any of the Arab countries try to send some of their troops.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
No, yeah, well,
I know Jordan. You mentioned Jordan, which is
so the Jordanian troops were the first Muslim country to be in this Muslim combat zone.
Right.
I think whatever generals or top commanders are in charge were hoping that this would help. They see other Muslim countries trying to take charge, and then, you know, maybe the enemy combatant Muslims will respect the Muslims that are here to help. You know, that's kind of above me. I'm just a sergeant.
I know we have a nice Muslim community in Revere, and they're very nice.
Yep.
And they're part of our culture now because Revere is made up of all different groups over there.
Gotcha.
And we'd love to have them. But their culture, I mean, compared to the United States culture and the culture in the Middle East, it's almost like day and night.
Yeah.
Because the women here are free. Well, the women there, some of them, do, like, let's take Iraq. Some of them have to wear what they call the burqas.
All of them do, yeah.
Oh, they have to wear it?
Well, and primarily in Afghanistan, where I was in more with the people, I was more involved with the public, I guess you could say, or I was more involved with the people of Afghanistan than I was in Iraq. Iraq, I was more in a more desolate area.
Right, because it's more desert-like out there.
Yeah, and just where I was. In Afghanistan, I was in a more urban area. So, you know, the women full headdress, burqas, you know, they'll be left in the corner and the men will go talk. You never seen a woman by herself. She'd always have to be accompanied by someone, and if it was time to talk to the owner of the household or try to talk to someone, the woman would go wait in the corner.
Right.
And you can't look at them. You know, it's disrespectful.
You can't look at them?
We can't look at them. It's disrespectful to look at them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, we have to watch our own security and make sure this person is not a man inside a woman's dress going to blow us up. But, you know, we don't want to make eye contact. We don't want to insult the husband or the owner of the house. So, you know, they weren't treated like gold over there.
I know we're going to be pulling out of Afghanistan next year, 2014, I think.
Yep.
You think they're ready to take care of their own? Your personal opinion.
With the amount of military equipment, weapons, gear, and training that I've seen them receive from the U.S. military, I hope so. I mean, I'm talking billions of dollars. We provided them with Humvees. Ford pickup trucks, M16s, 240 Gulfs, 240 Bravos, those are our machine guns, squad automatic weapons. I mean, we built their bases for them. We gave them bulletproof glass, bulletproof vests, helmets, camis. They're wearing our old camouflage. You know, camouflage from the 80s and 90s is what the Afghan army's wearing. I hope so. I mean, I've seen them in Afghanistan take a beating from the Taliban, you know.
Right. Another thing we do in Revere, and I think they do it in Saugus, we have the Paul Revere School, and they honor us every Veterans Day, and they have the kids. They put on a beautiful show for us. And I'm sure they do it in your town, Wakefield, as well as Saugus.
Oh, yeah, yep. The Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Yep.
Yep, they do it right here. And we read the names off of the list of the people that got killed on Memorial Day during the Vietnam, the Colonial War, the Second World War, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what are your future plans, if I may ask you?
My future plans, I eventually want to go to grad school. I graduated from Suffolk University in between my time in the Marines and time as a student. So I just took my graduate record exam to try to apply to grad school. I also have plans to take the civil service law enforcement exam in April. And right now I have a nice town job working in veteran services, living in Winthrop, and so right now I'm in a good position.
Good.
I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do in the future, but I got a bunch of options thanks to my time as a Marine, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So.
No. You know, something I was going to ask you, we have the senior center. There's one in Saugus. Is there one in Wakefield too, a senior center?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where my office is in Wakefield.
Oh, it is in
Wakefield.
Wakefield.
Senior center, yeah.
Our senior center here in Revere, we get people to try to donate yarn, and we do blankets for the Soldiers' Home in Chelsea.
Yep.
What do the senior center do in Saugus, and what do they do in Wakefield? Just give me an idea.
Okay, so Saugus Senior Center, they have a gentleman's club there where they invited me to speak, and they want to raise money for the wounded veterans, as I show you. Wakefield Senior Center, I'm not too sure, but I always see them actively involved in doing stuff. I think they sent postcards to the troops overseas and stuff like that. So.
Yep. You know, you're a young veteran. I'm an old veteran. I was in Germany, Austria. I was stationed in Fort Dix, New Jersey. You were stationed, if I may ask, down in Guantanamo?
Nope. I was everywhere, kind of. I spent time on active duty at Camp Pendleton, California.
I mean, where did you take your basic training?
Paris Island, South Carolina.
And what was it like there for you? Because you were 19 at the time.
I was 18.
18? I was 17, so we're young kids when we went.
It was hell on earth. I'm not going to lie. Some people say it was easy. I don't believe them. It was one of the toughest times of my life, the 3 months in the summertime in the 100-degree weather in the Carolinas, being screamed at by big, muscle-bound, tattooed drill instructors with combat experience. Yep.
You know what they did to me when I was a young kid? They made me take care. Well, you don't have it today. We had stoves, and we had to heat the Quonset huts with coal. And that was my job, to shovel the coal in, rake the coal, and I used to do that from 12 at night till 6 in the morning. And that was my job. By the way, I see you have a shirt there.
Yep, and so as a gift to you, my friend,
thank you
for doing this. This is last year's Wounded Vet Run T-shirt. This was the logo, Boston's Wounded Vet Run. They fought, we ride. On the back is our sponsors, but for everything that you do for our veterans and being a World War II veteran yourself, I'd like to present this T-shirt to you, and hope to get you a 2013 shirt too when you come at Suffolk Downs this year. So thanks, Morris. Appreciate
thank you.
No
thank you very much. And by the way, I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Okay.
You paved the way for us.
I got to tell you, what we want to do, what I would like to do, or think of getting the different towns. Now, we have a newspaper here called the American Legion, the Senior Center, the Moose, and we list all the activities that are going to be going on during the year for the veterans. I'm sure you're going to be doing this. Did you do the same thing in Saugus and Wakefield? For example, we list them like I mentioned, May the 19th, we have the flags, retirement of flags.
Yep.
Yep. And then 27, naturally, Memorial Day and the war come in June 13, 14, 15, and 16, and the Columbus Day Parade, and Eileen Murillo going around there. So we're going to try to make a list of the newspapers so the people out there can see, because a lot of them have no idea what functions are going on in there.
That's true.
So how about the newspapers in your town?
Oh, yeah. Wakefield actually just started a Veterans Corner, where in the paper weekly, Veterans Corner, there'll be information either on veterans benefits or an upcoming event. And the same thing with the Lynn and Saugus item. They've had me in their paper numerous times to talk about my mission and goals and upcoming events. And then Wakefield Access Television, which plays in, I believe, Saugus, Melrose, and Wakefield. You know, they have me on now and then, too. So,
Andy, I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
Okay. This has nothing to do with Veterans
I love
Affairs.
this. Go ahead.
You know, Sunday we got the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore and San Francisco.
Yep.
Take your pick, and I'll see if we both agree on it.
I want to see Ray Lewis crying, so I want San Francisco to maul them alive.
You and me both. And
Yep.
I like that new quarterback. They got Kaepernick is his name.
Yep.
The kid can run. The kid can pass. And I believe he's only 24 years old or 25 years.
I'm not sure his age, but
no, I know he's
dude's
around.
got potential, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's around your age, 24, 25. I think the one for Baltimore is Flacco.
Yep.
Yep. So that should be a pretty good game on there.
Yep. I'd love to.
Go,
definitely want to see San Francisco win.
So do I, okay? But, you know, that's part of the game. Now, let me ask you, what were your sports? What sports do you like, and what sports did you participate in?
Well, in high school, I wrestled, did a little lacrosse in the freshman years, but I wrestled up until I was a senior. I was a little guy in high school, so I did football when I was younger, but got smacked around, and I found wrestling I could, you know, I was challenging people of my own weight and size. But now I love watching the NFL football. You know, the Patriots broke my heart again. It happens. Definitely a huge Red Sox fan. Bruins, absolutely, and then basketball is my last one.
Did you say you got smacked around, Andy?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I was the youngest of three, and I got smacked around too, but that was by my mother and father. So that was I got to tell you, I used to work as a draftsman and a designer. That was when I was in my younger years, and I worked for a company called Bechtel Corporation, and I worked in Midland, Michigan on a nuclear power plant. I worked in Watertown, New York, up near Camp Drum. And when they had snow up there, I mean, you know, they took about a little snow here. Up there, when they have a flurry, it's not an inch or two. It's like 6, 7, 8 inches on there. And I remember one time in 1963 that the snow was so high that we could not get out of the first floor. We had to come out of the second floor and come down a hill. That's how bad it was. So I'm going to ask you, where was your worst condition that you can remember as a youngster?
I already know it. The worst condition was we had to spend 4 days at Fort... Oh, man. Not Fort Dix, right here in Massachusetts. The one
Excuse me, did you mention Fort Dix?
Oh, we were there, yeah.
I was stationed right outside of Trenton.
Yeah, we went there for a few rifle ranges.
Yep.
But what's the one right here in Fort Devens?
Right.
We had to do 4 days at Fort Devens in a blizzard, and it was literally we set a barrel on fire to keep warm, but other than that, it was more of those. Well, if you're not going to set a barrel on fire in combat so the enemy can know where you are, so all right, we'll go lay down. So now you're sleeping in a snowbank overnight with a sleeping bag. You know, I didn't prepare for that kind of stuff. I was still young to the Marines, and you know, you're supposed to sleep with your boots inside your sleeping bag, but I didn't. I left them outside, so they froze up in the morning. I couldn't even get my feet in them. And during the middle of the night, I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I couldn't get my boots on. I had to run to the tree line with my bare feet in the snow to use the bathroom. I froze all night. It was horrible.
Well, let me tell you, when I was in the service, we had double bunks. And somehow I wound up on the upper bunk, you know, and there was another guy. And I remember that, like, if I had to go, I would jump off, and of course,
You wake the guy up.
wake the guy up all the time over there.
Yeah, I had a big, heavy kid. Well, for years, until I got some rank, I was always in the top rack.
By the way, what was your rank, if I may?
I got out as a sergeant. Yep.
I got out as a corporal.
Nice.
Yeah. And I wasn't the intelligence because of my language. I was an interpreter.
Yeah.
So I did that.
What language you speak?
German.
No kidding.
And I used to speak Russian pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean,
So
my
you came
folks.
in very handy at the end of the war there. Huh?
Exactly, because my father was born in Germany.
Wow.
And my mother was born in Russia, so it worked out pretty good over there for me. So the minute I got overseas, they put me right in with the intelligence. Of course, some of these people don't think I belong there, but that's beside the point.
No kidding.
So, Andy, I got to say something. I think we're getting down, wrap it up. So if you would like to wrap it up before I say a few words, feel free to do so.
Yeah, no, I said what I had to say, and just continue what you're doing. How you know, at your age, to keep doing this and keep trucking, especially in this cold weather here, the snow and the slush, and you're out here doing this still for veterans when you could have thrown in the towel a long time ago. We appreciate it. And,
That's because my wife threw me out of the house. I had no choice, Andy.
all right.
So before we close up, I would like to thank you very much for coming
God
here,
bless you.
spending
Thank you so
the
much.
time. God
Absolutely.
bless you.
Anytime.
God bless the people of Revere. God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America. Until the next time, thank you for listening out there.